I'm sorry, I got cut off. So I was talking to God about uncovering church trauma, and it just was just like, wow, you've had childhood church trauma. You've had. I got pregnant when I was 18. Man, the church. Who knows? I don't even know because I didn't go back after that. I didn't go back, and that was a Pentecostal church or that apostolic church. I didn't go back. But it's so crazy that here I am, right? I've pastored a little. I went to school, studied to become pastor, went and pastored for a little bit, and I had trauma there too. I had trauma with that senior pastor who was over me. It was horrific. He was horrific. He wanted someone who would be, his would be his clone, and that wasn't me. He wanted me to preach like him. He would tell me negative things about myself, and not in a way to uplift me and to help me, but to laugh at me and to be condescending towards me. I don't know, Lord. Just help me to have this conversation in an honest way, because I don't want to bash anybody. Everybody has their own pain that they have to resolve, and sometimes people, young pastors, young ministers are caught in a David Saul situation. When a pastor sees something in themselves that they want, something in the other person that they want, but they don't have, and they don't know how to say, "Hey, help me to become like this." So they try to sabotage you. My name was taken to the conference. For what? For what? You gotta ask that person. I was blackballed basically, but God is so good. God is so good, because He has kept me regardless. And yes, I would want to be in a church. I'd want to be in a church where I can use my gifts, I can grow as a Christian, and I can pour into others, and others can pour into me. But I've never been able to find that in a church. To really find that, I've never really been, with the exception of when I first came to Shiloh, went to Shiloh as an Adventist. I first became an Adventist, and like, you have to get into ministry right away. I thank God for the things that I learned there. I've learned different things in ministry, but as far as like just having just having people to really, just having that support sometimes that people in the church would have, those ones who have family there would have. I've never really had that. Nobody questions the people who come to church and they come by themselves. Nobody cares enough to be like, hey, do you have family that's Adventist? Do you want to, like, let me take you under my wings as family? Nobody really cares that much. Nobody, like, and I wish people would care. When I was pastoring, I would see the people who would come by themselves. I would see those people. I remember this one lady, and this is before I even started pastoring there. This one lady who would come. She was a tiny little thing with braids or dreads. She would come by herself. The battle is real. The battle is real when it comes to like people who come by themselves. They have nobody, no family that's connected to the church and could use some support. It's hard for me to show up to church because I just feel disconnected from church. I feel disconnected from church. I feel disconnected from the church people. I like everybody. I look at everybody is connected, and I feel disconnected from them. Everybody is connected because maybe they have kids that are in the same age range, or they've been there for a long time. I have been somebody who's I've come and gone over the years, and so sometimes, like, I find myself, even after studying to be a minister, even after ministering to others, I have found myself just being in my bed on a Saturday. Just being in my bed on a Saturday. The thought of going to church, little wanting to go to church, but just feel like, is there a place for me there? Is there space for me? Where in places where I've been traumatized and nobody knows the full story, all they know is that I'm no longer there. Is there space for me? So I guess I mean, for pastors who were once pastors, who have disconnected from the church but desire to have a connection with the church but don't know how to have a connection with the church, I'm praying for you because I'm in that same space. for people who are still Christians or who were once Christians who have a disconnection from the church because you never fit in with the church. I'm with you too. For people who have felt so brutally devastated by hurt from the church, who have disconnected completely from the church as a result of that, I am with you too. But what I want to do in the midst of being with you is encourage you to recognize that God is with you also. God does not leave us when the church separates from us. God does not leave us when we separate from the church. I encourage people to teach your children about Jesus Christ. Teach them about God, because the church will fail you, but God will never fail you. God will never, ever fail you. Never. Teach your children about going to church as a principle, but teach them about knowing God as salvific. That's the relationship that people need. That's what we need when we have to make these decisions. When we have to lay up in our beds on a Saturday or Sunday trying to figure out, man, I need to go to church, but I don't even have the energy to go because of the things that I've experienced. I don't even know if I can deal with people there. We have those type of feelings. You know who enters in and tries to make sure that we're right? And I'm looking around because I always like to have a Bible with me. It's God. It's God. It's God. It's God in His Word who does that for us. Okay? It's God in His Word who does that for us. So I encourage you to just stand strong in the Lord, because God is the one who reaches down and rescues us when people hurt us, when people disappoint us. You may be the only Christian in your family. Stay rooted in God. Stay rooted in God. You may have no church family that you're connected to. Stay rooted in God. Thank God for some of the people who took me under their wings, and they're not really connected to the church, but they go to church. And they're my family. And I've been family with them since in my 20s. And I don't see them often, but they're my parents. They're my parents. They're my family members. They're my aunties and my uncles. Because they have stayed with me throughout the course. They've been at the big events in my life. And I'm so grateful for that. They have taken my daughter as their family. And I'm so grateful for that. And I met them in church, but we didn't stay connected through church but they are not like the movers and shakers. They're not the movers and shakers in the church. And the crazy thing is because I reached out and ministered to them initially. To some of them initially. As a young woman, I saw them being alone and just coming in, just by themselves and needing some support. And I went out and supported them. And they have become family. So I pray that you will find your family in the name of Jesus. Okay? Take care.